motor, which was pretty annoying as well. And since the A's team won the World Series during the tragic earthquake that happened, everything about that season just became really bizarre. You know, Canseco, McGuire, Ricky Henderson, it just all became really, really bizarre, that whole season. So because of all the things I just mentioned, the 1989 Oakland Athletics fall in at number 13. Now, number 12, the Detroit Tigers. 2003's version of the Detroit Tigers. There was nothing particularly dislikable about any of the players or even or manager Alan Trammell. But when you post the worst record since the expansion Mets of 1962, it's really hard to be well received, even in a city like Detroit. It's just really hard to be well received. Now, this one might cross the line of just not being. It just might fall into the not being well received category, but nevertheless, I'm drinking the Detroit Tigers 2003 Haterade right here. Although they hadn't reached a postseason since '87, as of that time frame we're talking about, the Tigers had been, a pretty successful, pretty proud franchise, and so that season was just an absolute embarrassment. They started the season 1-18. They were shut out 16 times and allowed double-digit runs in 21 games. So it's fairly easy to hate on the Detroit Tigers. 2003's Detroit Tigers getting the number 12 spot. Now this one I had to begrudgingly add to this list. Now, the Baltimore Orioles in 1998. I keep getting my 90s and 80s mixed up. I think I have that new David Hasselhoff video stuck in my head, and it's just forcing me away from the 80s. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. It's actually allowing me to kind of let go of my childhood. That video is. And maybe I should do a podcast or a radio show on that as well. But nevertheless, the 1988 Baltimore Orioles make this list. They were as bad, if not worse, than the 2003 Tigers. They may have had two beloved players, two of my personal heroes of all time, Cal Ripken Jr. and Eddie Murray. But losing the first 21 games of the season renders a club a laughing stock. I remember sitting in the locker room at gym class, and the Sports Illustrated cover was plastered on the wall by our gym coach. He was a huge Orioles fan, much like everybody was at that school. And I remember it was a picture of, I think it was Cal Ripken or maybe one of the other players. I haven't even seen the cover in a long time. I'd rather just forget about that season. But people are holding their heads on the cover, and it's just in real big words, 0-21. I remember that vividly. I remember it was during wrestling class as well. So two of my favorite things that day: baseball, wrestling class. One of my least favorite things: the Orioles starting the season 0-21 in 1988. It's easy to drink that Haterade. I'm not particularly drinking it, but I know, and I'm sure that other people out there have. Oh, I forgot to mention, it was during the 88 season that Billy Ripken, Cal Ripken's brother, posed for that infamous baseball card. Just Google it. At the bottom of the bat, there's a funny saying, as all I'll say about that. So 1988 Baltimore Orioles starting the season 0-21. Billy Ripken gets the baseball card pick for that one too. Number 11, Baltimore Orioles at 1988. So number 10, Chicago White Sox of 1997. The hatred for this team should be directed at two men: the general manager and the owner, Ron Schuler and Jerry Reinsdorf, in that respective order. Less than 2 years before, Reinsdorf would oversee the dissection of his Chicago Bulls dynasty. His other club, he also owned the White Sox, was only a game out of first place in the AL Central on July the 1st, but it didn't matter to him because over the next month, the White Sox opened up a historic fire sale. I mean, they just opened themselves up to the league. They were basically like, hey guys, we got a lot of stuff for sale, real cheap, come on in, like a pawn shop or something. Not even a pawn shop, but just one of those second-hand stores or something. They dealt away Harold Baines. I think they gave him to the Orioles, which I really liked. Danny Darwin, Tony Pena, Wilson Alvarez, Roberto Hernandez, Darren Lewis, over just a span of a couple of weeks. This has been dubbed by baseball historians and just writers alike as the white flag sale, and it helped the White Sox finish the season, or it helped them go on to post a 27-28 record for the rest of the season and help Cleveland win their third straight AL Central title. So the White Sox helped Cleveland win that title. Drink the Haterade, ladies and gentlemen, the black and white Haterade, if you can find it. Drink it up, because the Chicago White Sox of 1997 are begging you to do so. All right, we're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we have our top 9, including a 7th-inning stretch. Some of these picks might shock you. We'll see about that. So stick around. iHeartRadio, the Big Game James Show. This is James F. Thomas IV, and we're coming right back in a moment. The hate today, ladies and gentlemen. Just straight up just hatred. Got my Haterade right by my side. I've been chugging along. So anyhow, on to our 9. It's only appropriate. Our top 9 most hated teams in baseball. And hearkening back to the beginning of the broadcast, what do you guys think of the the Barry Bonds speech after he hit his 756th home run? Do you guys get what I'm throwing out here? Get what I'm pitching, so to speak? Anyhow, I'll save that one for another day. So moving along, number 9. Starting the countdown. I'm going to stick with the Kansas City Royals. Go back to 1985. Hatred doesn't have to only be about unlikable or dirty players. How about a whole entire team? Kind of like that Detroit team or the Baltimore team. We can forgive these guys, right? So winning a tainted or at least controversial title can leave a champion hated by many. The St. Louis Cardinals led the Kansas City Royals 3-2 with a 1-0 lead in the 9th inning. Talking about the World Series here in 1985. And the rest is history. When umpire Don Denkinger entered his name into the hate book after blowing a call at first base, the Royals scored 2 runs subsequently, one Game 6, then Game 7. So it's unfair to really judge an entire team by a single play. Perhaps it's the umpire we should be hating here, but this isn't about umpires. This is about teams. And Denkinger just happens to be the GOAT. It's hard for people outside of Kansas City to really like the Royals championship team that probably should have lost. So they make our number 9 spot. Kansas City Royals. The 2015 Royals are certainly making an argument for this. Seems like they want to be included in this list. Moving along. Number 8, back to the O's. It's funny. It's ironic that, one of my my absolute favorite team in baseball makes the list a couple of times in this broadcast. The 1996 Baltimore Orioles. Forget the fact that the leadoff hitter was Brady Anderson, the man who hit home runs, 50 of them, just out of nowhere. And I remember that season vividly as well, and I just remember thinking, wow. I mean, here's a guy who went from, hitting 18 or maybe 20, decent player. He played hard. All of a sudden, he just hits 50 homers. Forget that David Wells was one of the starters for that 96 O's team, or that Rafael Palmeiro was the most potent batter. The 1996 Orioles gave Gold Glove All-Star second baseman Roberto Alomar, or rather, they didn't give him anything, but Alomar spit in the umpire's face during a game in late September. Now, that alone should be enough to just raise your glass of Haterade and roll with it. So we're going to cheers to Roberto Alomar, the 1996 Orioles, for that just nasty, just despicable display of sportsmanship. I've got other words to describe that, but I'll digress and ignore, or rather not say it for now. Even the presence of Cal Ripken, one of the all-time greats, less than a year removed from breaking Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak. Iron Man Cal Ripken wasn't enough to keep this team from my hate list. Number 8, Baltimore Orioles, 1996. Just full of hatred right there. Perhaps you hate those who are closest the most. Now here's one who justifiably made this list without a doubt. So the levels of measurement here, told you before they were nominal or ordinal. No cause and effect, but there's a cause and effect here because I hate the Red Sox. I'll still watch them on TV, but I like seeing them lose. The Red Sox's second World Series since 1918 wasn't nearly as magical as the first. Boston wasn't the David toppling Goliath anymore. Let's face it. They weren't looking up at the noses of baseball. They were looking down from their own nose. It wasn't a ragtag club of idiots who rallied around the cowboy up mentality. It had the very unlikable J.D. Drew, two very high-priced newcomers, one being Josh Beckett, and the increasingly mouthy Curt Schilling. Though I'll give Curt Schilling credit for coming out in that World Series game with blood all over his foot. That was actually one of the cool things to watch. But after nearly a decade, Manny Ramirez's antics were just starting to get old, and he soon wore out his welcome. Got busted for PEDs, etc. Down to the minor leagues, back up, blah blah blah. Now he's a batting coach for the Cubs, but he was basically out of there. But this whole crop of characters that the Red Sox fielded in 2007 is easy to hate. Therefore, they make the 7th spot on my list. 2007 Boston Red Sox, ladies and gentlemen, number 7. Moving along. Begrudgingly, but I had to include the New York Mets of 1992. They spent millions on free agents. Bobby Bonilla. Slow down. They spent a ton of money on Bonilla and Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray, again, one of my favorite players ever. I was so angry when he went to the Mets. I was a little more forgiving with his tenure with the Dodgers because I really like listening to Vin Scully's play-by-play. But that's besides the point. New York Mets make number 6, 1992. If anything, for scooping up these two players on such large sums of money. Sending David Cone, their longtime aces, to the eventual World Series champions Blue Jays, who I mentioned earlier, didn't make the fans in New York, in particular, at Shea, happy, either. If this type of wheeling and dealing and overspending for these stars was to be the future of the Mets, and it was at the time, it's really hard not to hate this team. It's really hard not to hate any team that just goes out, overspends, and then turns it into just complete failure. Moving along, the New York Yankees, who should be on every spot in this list. That's my arbitrary opinion in case you're taking notes. I don't know how you'd score that on a baseball sheet. Anyhow, by the mid-1980s, I'm talking about the New York Yankees,